Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're diving headfirst into a topic that, well, many of you, our listeners, have asked about. How do you actually get your ideas, your stories, your insights out there into the world? It's a question that brings up so many possibilities and, frankly, a lot of confusion, too. We've got some fantastic source material to guide us, actually shared by a listener who's looking to publish really great stuff. We're digging into Kevin Kelly's really insightful essay, Everything I Know About Self-Publishing,
Yeah.
and also a very thought-provoking talk from literary agent Ted Weinstein called So You Want to Publish a Book.
Ah,
So our goal today is to really, unpack this whole modern publishing landscape. We'll look at the traditional path, the explosion of self-publishing options, and figure out what it really takes to get your work into readers' hands today.
that's right. And what's so fascinating here, and what both Kelly and Weinstein really highlight, is how fundamentally everything has changed, the whole publishing world.
Yeah.
It's not just about creative output anymore. It's become this mix of strategy, connecting directly with your audience, and really understanding, the attention economy we're all living in. We'll pull out those core insights to help you figure out the best path for your own project.
Okay, so let's start with that big picture shift. Kevin Kelly, and he's had bestsellers both ways, traditional and self-published. He just comes right out and says it. He says, the peak of this traditional system is gone, finished, over. Just like that. Reading habits have changed, buying habits are new, attention has shifted. I mean, what does this mean for someone dreaming of publishing now?
It means it's a whole new ballgame.
Yeah.
Kelly points out something critical.
Right.
Traditional publishers, historically, they sold to bookstores.
Yeah.
Not directly to readers. They don't own their customers in that direct way. So their second question to an author these days, right after what's the book about, is almost always,
Do you have an audience?
exactly, do you have an audience? Which really flips the script. So if you're an author today, traditional or self-published, the main challenge isn't just creation anymore, it's discovery. You basically have to bring your own readers to the party.
And Ted Weinstein, the agent, he takes it even further. One of his core principles is, and I quote, all publishing is self-publishing. He argues that nobody will care as much as you do, so you have to think like a self-publisher at all times. And then he hits you with, get famous first, and then I'll get you a good book deal. Wow. That's quite different from the old dream, isn't it?
It really is. And if you connect the dots, both Kelly and Weinstein are basically saying the same thing from different angles. It's about the author's personal responsibility for the project's success, no matter which route you take. Like Weinstein says, you need to be the CEO of your own multimedia empire. The book shouldn't just appear out of nowhere. It should be like the culmination of lots of other things you're doing, your blog, talks, your online presence, all strung together.
Okay, so given that massive shift, let's dig into that traditional route a bit more. What did it used to look like, and what are the pros and cons that still linger today?
Right. So traditionally, the setup was pretty clear cut. The author creates the manuscript, and then the professionals, the publishing house, handled pretty much everything else. Editing, packaging, cover design, manufacturing the physical books, distribution to stores, promotion, sales, the works. The big advantage, obviously, was the author could mainly just focus on writing, the creative part. They even paid you in advance, money up front before the book was even finished.
In advance. That sounds great, right?
Yeah.
Getting paid up front. But Kelly makes this really interesting point. It's not just about the money, is it?
No, not at all. Actually, a bigger advance. It signals a deeper commitment from the publisher. It's more than just cash. It means they have more skin in the game, as they say. Kelly's advice is pretty blunt.
Yeah.
Get the biggest advance you possibly can.
Wow.
Because, well, if they've invested more upfront, they have a much stronger reason to invest more in promotion, publicity, sales efforts, everything to make that book succeed. They need to earn out their investment, and they do that much faster than the author earns out their portion. So a big advance is like a powerful motivator for them to push your book hard.
Ah, okay. So the advance is almost like a signal of their belief and commitment level. That makes sense. But okay, here's where it gets tricky, the downsides. Kelly talks about the publisher controlling things like the edit, the title, the cover, ads, rights. And the pace can feel incredibly slow, right?
That's the trade-off. Exactly. Your work becomes sort of a group project, which naturally slows things down. Plus, your book has to fit into their overall schedule, their lineup for that season. It can take ages. So yeah, it's a definite loss of control and that speed issue. That's why a lot of authors are looking at other options now.
And agents, they used to be the gatekeepers, the matchmakers. Are they still worth that, 15% cut in this new world?
For many, yeah, especially when you're starting out or aiming for those big traditional deals. They still often are. Agents have the relationships with editors. They know who's looking for what. They also negotiate contracts, making sure the terms are decent, protecting your rights. They can often get you a better deal overall. Kelly himself says he's fine with the cut because his agent consistently gets him way more money than he could alone. But, and it's a big but, if you go the full self-publishing route, that 15%, it stays in your pocket. So that's a calculation you have to make.
Right. So if the traditional path has these big shifts and trade-offs, what are the real alternatives? Taking control. Kelly suggests doing as much self-publishing as you can realistically handle, and it sounds like owning your audience is absolutely key here.
Totally key. This is where his whole 1,000 true fans idea really clicks. He argues you don't need, like, millions of followers. You need 1,000 super fans. People who will buy basically anything you create, books, merch, courses, whatever. If you have 1,000 fans like that and you can sell them, say, $100 worth of stuff a year on average.
That's $100,000, a decent living.
Exactly. A sustainable income. But the crucial part is having that direct relationship, knowing their names, their emails, talking to them. That direct link lets you bypass all the middlemen and build something really solid.
That direct connection sounds like gold dust, really. And it ties right into crowdfunding, doesn't it? Kickstarter, Patreon, those kinds of platforms.
Absolutely. Crowdfunding is powerful for, like, 3 main reasons. 1, you get the money before you finish the work. Your audience becomes your first investor. 2, you keep almost all the revenue, just minus the platform fee, which is way better than typical royalties. And 3, crucially, you own that audience. You get their contact info. You can talk to them about future projects. It's like your own little bank, basically. Reduces the risk, just like an advance, but you keep control and the connection. Plus, it proves people actually want the thing.
Okay, but it's not magic, right? Kelly is quick to warn that it's a huge amount of work. What does that actually mean? Where does the work come in?
Yeah, it's definitely not passive income. A 30-day campaign, that can easily be a full-time job. It needs skills beyond just writing, marketing, sales, constant social media engagement, answering questions, stuff many creators aren't naturally geared towards. And then there's fulfillment, getting the actual books or rewards out to everyone.
Ah, yes.
People totally underestimate this. Packing, shipping hundreds or thousands of orders, dealing with customs, lost packages, customer service. Kelly says it often ends up being the hardest part. It's a serious logistical challenge.
Okay, right. So let's say you've navigated that. You've written the thing. Maybe you crowdfunded it. How do you actually produce the book now? Printing used to be this massive, expensive hurdle, but Kelly says even amateurs can do it now.
Yeah, the production side has really opened up. There are basically 3 main ways to go. First, batch printing presses. This is for big runs like 5,000 copies or more, or if you want really high-quality fancy paper, color, embossed covers, that sort of thing. Often done overseas for cost. Downside, big upfront cost, and you need somewhere to store all those books.
Okay. Option 2.
Second is on-demand printing, or POD. This is pretty revolutionary. Services like Blurb, Lulu, Amazon KDP, Kindle Direct Publishing, they print one book only when someone buys it.
Ah, print on demand.
Exactly. So no inventory, no upfront print cost, 0 risk on printing. The quality is really good now, too. Even big publishers use it for older titles.
And the third?
Third is digital publishing, ebooks basically, or even just selling a secure PDF directly using something like Gumroad. No printing, no shipping, no storage, super easy entry point. Royalties can be pretty good, too, comparable to print sometimes. Great way to test the waters.
And we can't forget audiobooks. Kelly calls them the fastest growing format.
Definitely.
Yeah.
For a lot of people, it's the only way they consume books now. Fix it into commutes, chores, whatever. Platforms like ACX, that's Audible's DIY platform, make it pretty easy to produce and distribute an audiobook yourself. The catch is they usually take a hefty chunk of the royalties and often demand exclusivity.
Meaning you can only sell it through Audible.
Yeah, that's often the deal. So you get their massive reach, but you're locked in. Something to weigh up.
Okay, got it. So you've got your book, physical, digital, audio. Now, how do you get it out there? Distribution. This is like another complicated step.
It can be, yeah. For physical books, you've got options. You can self-ship. Maximum control will be tons of work, packing boxes, going to the post office, and global shipping gets expensive fast. You could use a drop shipper, like a fulfillment center. They handle storage and shipping for a fee. Easier, but adds cost and another layer. Or you can use Amazon's fulfillment. Super efficient, huge reach, but, and it's a big but, they control the customer relationship, the data. You don't really own that audience directly. POD services often ship direct to the customer too, which simplifies things a lot for the author, but again, how much customer info you get varies.
Wow, okay. This next point from Kevin Kelly really hit me. It is not hard to produce a book. It is much harder to find the audience for it and deliver the book to them. He says, at least 50% of your energy will be devoted to selling the book. And that's true whether you publish traditionally or self-publish. 50%. What does that mean, practically, for someone wanting to write?
It means promotion isn't something you tack on at the end. It's literally half the job, maybe more. Those old school methods, book tours, newspaper reviews, TV spots, they're mostly gone. Or if they happen, the author often has to organize and pay for them now. The expectation has totally shifted. You are the marketing department, period.
That's a huge realization. So if the old ways are fading, where should authors be putting that 50% of their energy today? What actually works?
The action is definitely online, direct to audience. Kelly talks about having huge success promoting his books on podcasts. His strategy was basically saying yes to every podcast request who had more than 3 episodes. Smart.
Why podcast specifically?
He points out that even a small podcast audience is often bigger than the number of people walking into a typical bookstore on a given day. And podcast listeners are engaged. It's an intimate medium. It sells books. Other big areas now are things like Book Talk, the TikTok phenomenon, social media generally, and building your own email list for direct promotion and maybe even virtual tours. It's about finding your specific niche online.
And he connects this back to crowdfunding too, right? Saying you have to bring the crowd with you. The platform itself won't just magically find people for you.
Absolutely crucial point. Kickstarter isn't a discovery engine. It's a conversion engine. You need to build your audience before you launch the campaign. The campaign is where you convince your existing followers and their networks to back the project. Showing up cold, without an audience, it's incredibly hard to get traction. It all comes back to building that audience first.
Okay. Then Kelly drops this really provocative idea. Most books these days should probably not be a book. He argues that many ideas, many stories, they just don't need that long-form book treatment. So what should they be instead?
He suggests shorter forms are often better fits. Things like magazine articles, blog posts, or, and this is key now, newsletters. The rise of platforms like Substack and Ghost. They've created this whole new ecosystem for writers. People are actually willing to pay directly for high-quality writing delivered to their inbox from creators they trust.
Right, the direct payment model.
Yeah, it offers a leaner way. You bypass a lot of the publishing complexities, just you, your writing, and your paying audience.
And those newsletters give authors some powerful tools, don't they? Direct audience ownership, analytics to see what people are reading.
Exactly. Plus a community aspect. Comments, discussion threads. It builds connection. And it allows for what Kelly calls writing a book out loud.
What does he mean by that?
Publishing it in installments, as a newsletter series perhaps. Getting feedback from your readers as you go. Using that feedback to revise, improve, maybe even find new directions for the work before it's finalized. Kelly says doing this increases the quality of the material manyfold. It becomes almost collaborative.
Okay, now here's where it gets really interesting, maybe even a little uncomfortable for book lovers. Kelly talks about the difference between people of the book and people of the screen. He points out his TED Talks, which he prepares relatively quickly, get millions of views, while his books, which take years of work, reach thousands. That's a huge difference. He sees the text audience as kind of stagnant, older, while video and screen audiences are growing younger.
It poses a fundamental strategic question for any creator, doesn't it? Where is the attention actually going? Kelly strongly suggests prioritizing video, visual formats first. Build an audience there. And then funnel that engaged audience back towards your deeper written work. It's a big shift in thinking. Maybe the book isn't the starting point for discovery anymore. Maybe it's the destination for the already converted.
Wow. Okay, so with all these different paths, possibilities, challenges, it can feel overwhelming. But Kelly does offer a kind of decision tree, some practical advice to help navigate it all. Let's try and unpack that.
Yeah, his summary advice is very grounded, very practical, basically. If you have an audience already, start by publishing publicly, but maybe not as a full book yet. Blogs, newsletters, social media snippets. Test the waters, let readers engage, shape it.
Okay, build in public.
Right. Then, when there's clear interest, bundle it. Ebook, maybe a print-on-demand edition. For bigger, more complex projects, consider crowdfunding. It funds the work, improves the demand up front. Helps you gauge print runs, too. If you're naturally outgoing, good on camera, prioritize video, build attention there first, then lead people to the writing.
Makes sense.
And traditional publishing. Consider it only if you get a serious commitment, a good advance, real distribution muscle, decent creative control, and only if you actually want that kind of scale and process. It shouldn't be the default anymore. It's a specific strategic choice.
And then Ted Weinstein brings that dose of agent reality. He calls publishing a horrible, exhausting struggle. Warns you need calluses on your forehead and a big support structure. He doesn't sugarcoat it.
No, he doesn't. But he's not trying to kill dreams. He's trying to inject professionalism. He stresses, know yourself. Is this project pure art? Or is it, like he says, a one-pound business card? Something to build credibility, lead to speaking gigs, consulting. Your goal shapes your strategy. And for nonfiction especially, the book proposal isn't just an idea dump. It's a business plan.
Right, the business plan aspect.
Yeah. Detailed chapter outlines, strong sample chapter, sure. But also the sizzle. Who are the readers? Why you? Why now? What's your marketing plan? How will you reach them? You have to prove the market exists and that you can connect with it.
Okay, so this whole deep dive really paints a picture of a publishing world that's way more dynamic, more fragmented, but also much more author-driven than it used to be. It feels less about waiting for someone to pick you and more about building your own platform, your own connection.
That's the absolute core takeaway, I think. Whether you go traditional, self-publish, or some hybrid mix, you are the CEO of your project. Success rests not just on creating something great, but equally on your ability to strategically find, engage, and keep your audience, using the right tools for the job in this landscape that keeps changing.
It's definitely a lot more work, it sounds like, but also maybe more empowering, more opportunity.
Absolutely. More control, more direct connection if you're willing to put in that work. So maybe here's a thought to leave you with. In this world of screens, short attention spans, endless content, how can your voice, your ideas, actually break through, whether it ends up being a book, a newsletter, a video series, or something else entirely? How will you adapt? How will you innovate to make sure your message doesn't just get published, but truly connects and builds that loyalty with your own true fans?
A lot to think about there. What stood out most to you from all this? We definitely recommend checking out Kevin Kelly and Ted Weinstein's work directly. Until next time, keep diving deep.